If you went to school in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, this is the rectangle pizza your lunch lady made for you. And we're gonna make it today. Are you ready? Let's go. To be honest, I tried this 10 days ago and it turned out badly. I have video to prove it. I scaled down the version from the 1980s USDA book of recipes, and I didn't scale it down enough. And I actually tried to, now I know, I actually made too much dough and crammed it into a smaller pan, and it had nowhere to go but up. And so the dough rose up in the oven like that when I pre-baked it, and so I had to smash that. Anyway, it was just a mess. So today I have a better scaled version of the 1980s school cafeteria pizza, and I'm gonna make it. Let's go. I've scaled this recipe to use this well-seasoned Farberware pan. It's 16.5 by 10.5 on the inside. And I'm going to stay true to the 1980s USDA preparation. So I'm going to prep it with a solid shortening, and I have Crisco. And the reason that you want to prep it with a solid shortening instead of a liquid oil or a spray is so that the cornmeal stays put, so that the crust will be nice and crunchy on the bottom. So get you some solid shortening and prepare your pan. You need some yellow cornmeal, not cornmeal mix, not like Jiffy cornmeal mix, yellow cornmeal, and you need a tablespoon of it or so. And I'm just going to use my hands. And you need to generously put that on the pan. Sprinkle it on the pan and on the sides. A little bit more. Like that. Now your pan is prepped. Preheat your oven to 450 degrees and set this aside. This recipe really needs a stand mixer, and I'm pretty cheap and I haven't broken down and bought one yet, but I saw a knockoff KitchenAid stand mixer at Walmart for only $99, so I may go ahead and buy that, but that's not going to happen today. Instead, I'm going to use my hand mixer to do this next part. But first, we have to proof the yeast. You need 1 1/3 cups of warm water and then 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast. And you're supposed to put that in the water and then mix it up, let it dissolve, and then let it sit undisturbed for 4 to 5 minutes. It's supposed to get foamy. I'm just gonna set a towel over it because that's what I saw another content creator do. And set a timer for 4 to 5 minutes. While the yeast is proofing, I'm going to go ahead and combine all the dry ingredients. I'm going to use 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup of dry milk, 1 1/2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Whisk those all together. So it's been 5 minutes, but I checked my yeast and it still wasn't foamy on top. It's just now starting to wake up and foam. It's because I keep my yeast in the refrigerator, so it's just now starting to wake up. So I'm going to keep this warm towel over the top of it for another 3 minutes because apparently you need to have it foamy. So I need it to foam. And for those that need to see what this looks like, because I'm a visual learner too, that's just got some bubbles on top, but it needs to be foamy, and it's not foamy yet. So I'm going to put it right back over here. Like I said, I keep my active dry yeast in the refrigerator, and the yeast hasn't fully woken up yet, apparently. And I just wanted to mention, I am not making the crust where you pat it out with your hands and roll it out. I'm making the pourable crust that was in the recipe from the 1980s in the USDA school cafeteria recipe book. So this is going to be a pourable crust. I'm just waiting for the active dry yeast to get foamy. Okay, that's what it's supposed to look like. It's foamy and it's still warm and it's ready to use. I'm gonna make a little well here for this. So this says to pour the yeast water into the flour, 1.5 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Mix on medium speed for 3 to 5 minutes. Pour the batter onto the pan. Like that. And now it says you need to let it sit at room temperature to 15 to 20 minutes. But since my house is always like around 70 degrees, it's a little too cool. So I'm going to just set it over by the oven. It's been preheating at 450. I'm just going to set it next to the oven. While that dough is resting for 20 minutes, I'll go ahead and make the sauce. You need 6 to 8 ounces of tomato paste. You also need about 1/4 cup of water, and I'm just going to put it right into that can so that I can make sure that I get every bit of that out of there. My grandma taught me that. She's from the generation that, you know, the Depression, and they used things up until there wasn't anything left. And she instilled that in me. So 1.5 teaspoons of granulated sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of dried oregano, and some garlic powder. Now I'm just going to pop this over there on the top of the stove. You don't have to heat it up, but I want to heat it up some. And I'm just going to let that simmer for just a little bit on my stove top. And if yours is too thick, because remember this is tomato paste, this is not tomato sauce, just put you a little bit more water with it. The crust has rested for 20 minutes. Place the crust in the oven and par bake it for 7 to 9 minutes. So I have my sauce, and full disclosure, I had to add more water to mine so it can be a pourable sauce. Pour your sauce over the top and spread it thin. Add 2 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese. I'm just gonna eyeball it. And you can put a little bit of Colby on there if you want. Colby Jack. I have some Colby Jack I'm going to put on top. Don't want to put too much though, because then it would make the crust soggy. Like that. And then put it back in the oven for 9 to 11 minutes. There it is. Just took it out of the oven. May have left it in there a little bit too long. But there is the Lunch Lady vintage pizza. There it is. Just as I remembered. It's perfect. Look at the bottom of it. It's perfect. Oh my goodness. Memories of childhood. Yep. This is perfect. So good. It's not hard to make this pourable crust, and it's chewy and it's crunchy on the bottom. Just perfect. Make that. Yum. As always, you can find the full recipe pinned in the comments or in the video description.